Hey everyone, welcome back to the Thundertron podcast. So today I'm going to be discussing and giving you my thoughts on today's Walmart Collector Con sneak peek, which revealed several upcoming Transformers Legacy United figures. Now, all the figures I'm going to discuss in today's Thundertron podcast segment will be up for pre-order on Walmart and Hasbro Pulse on March 14th at 9 a.m. Central Time or 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, before we get into my thoughts and all the information that we have on these figures, please leave your thoughts on these figures in the comment section down below. Are they a pickup or a pass? Now, starting off with the first of four figures that we will be taking a look at and discussing in this Thundertron podcast segment, we have the Transformers Legacy United Voyager class Star Raider Ferrek. Now, interesting enough, most of the Transformers community was expecting this Walmart exclusive subline to be solely based off of the Star Seekers, but Hasbro decided to change the name to Star Raiders. Not sure really why they did that, but diving into the figure, Ferrek, if you don't know, is a repaint, slight retool of the previous Transformers Kingdom Voyager class Cyclonus mold, which was one of the best Voyager class figures of the Kingdom line, so I definitely think anyone who liked that past version of this mold is going to want to go after this figure, myself included. So the retooled parts are very small, minor areas that I can see right now. We might be able to find or determine more once we get the figure in hand, but I think the head sculpt might be slightly changed, and the wings are, because the figure comes with two new identical silver kind of gunmetal gray weapons which can attach onto the tips of his wings, which was never included or you could do with the past version of this mold. The other accessory he includes is that simple handheld blaster that came with the last one. The last one, it was done in kind of a silver gunmetal gray color, but this time it's done in a very bright white. And the color scheme of Ferrek is actually very quite interesting. It's like a gunmetal gray white mixture. I'm not too familiar with Ferrek, but I actually do quite like this interesting color scheme. As far as transformation goes, I'm going to assume it's the exact same steps and process as Cyclonus, so if you have that figure, you know exactly what to do here. Now, taking a look at his alt mode, I actually love Cyclonus's jet alt mode. It was actually really large for a Voyager class figure. That's what shocked me the most, and I think quite a few members of the Transformers community, they're like, this is a Voyager, but it's like the size of a small commander class or very large leader. It was crazy. Although, if you don't know, I'll kind of refresh your memory, there was a tolerance problem. There were two panels apart of sort of his arms or shoulders that were supposed to tab in more secure to the jet mode, but they would always leave kind of a gap or crevice there, and some people were really bothered by that, so I do hope with this new version of this mold, hopefully they fix that tolerance or kind of QC problem. We'll really just have to wait and see, but let's move on to the next figure. So here we have the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Star Raider Lockdown, which if you don't know is using the previous Transformers Legacy Evolution Deluxe Class Axle Grease mold. So I'm going to try and point out all the new pieces and changes in mold between the two versions of this mold. So Lockdown does have a brand new head sculpt, and there's been quite a bit of talk on this head sculpt throughout the Transformers community recently. So some people are thinking Hasbro took heavy inspiration for this head sculpt from the Revenge of the Fallen Lockdown figure, like all the details and design cues, and put it towards this figure. I don't know if we'll ever know for sure. Maybe we could ask him someday and we could get an answer. The other new tooling is the chest, and I think everything else is the exact same thing as Axle Grease, only done in a Lockdown's color scheme. Speaking of, I do quite like the chemical green for the majority of the chest and the top of the legs, with a really nice dark matte black for the shoulders and the rest of the legs. And there's some smaller details like the silver spikes at the feet and at the shoulders, and a little bit of transparent red here and there across the figure. As far as accessories go, I think they should all be the same ones that were included with Axle Grease, only again this time done in Lockdown's color, so he does have that hook hand attachment, this time done in a nice gunmetal gray for the hook, and a really nice caution tape yellow and black stripe detailing for the other part of the weapon. He also does have the two smokestacks, which I think were the same color or design and details as Axle Grease's, so that kind of silver gunmetal gray color, so no change there. and also included as his final accessory the engine block blaster done and a really nice bright silver. And since Lockdown here is using the base mold of a Junkion, you still can do that same feature where you can break them apart and attach them onto other figures and weaponize them if you wanted to. I probably won't use that feature, but if you really like doing that with your figures, you can still do it with this one. Transformation should be the exact same thing as axle grease and the previous uses of this mold, such as scrap hook and tow line, so no surprises there. If you don't own any of those figures, this is kind of a new experience for you. It's actually pretty fun. Yes, this figure does separate, but you do not have to split it or separate it for the transformation, so there is no parts forming involved with this figure. You can keep it as one piece and still transform it. Now, taking a look at his alt mode, I had to say I think I actually might like his alt mode more than his robot mode because I just think it looks so cool. I do love the massive engine block done in silver with all the canisters sculpted in, all the spikes across the vehicle with the really nice dark red barred windows and the silver smokestack sticking out the back with the hook also at the back. I just think they did such an amazing job. This might be one time where I will display him in his alt mode, because if you have seen any of my collection videos, I too typically display my figures in their robot mode, but this might be one case where I do it a bit different. So here we have the next deluxe class, that being the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Star Raider Filch, which if you don't know is a slight retool repaint of the previous Transformers Kingdom Deluxe Class Air Razor. Now I'm going to try and point out all the differences in mold and the new pieces between the two versions of this mold. So Filch does come with a brand new head sculpt and chest piece, and if you don't know, that chest piece is later used to form the bird head and beak of the alt mode. She also does come with a brand new pair of wings, and with that some new engineering. So if you don't know, many of the other uses of the Air Razor mold, Air Razor herself typically have the wings just folded up on her backpack in the robot mode. Well, it works a little bit different for Filch here. So for Filch, what you do is you break off the tips and you put them on the forms to act as her accessories for the robot mode. Now, I'm not sure specifically what Hasbro was going for. I'm imagining maybe they're supposed to act as like blades or form guards or shields, maybe knives of some sort, or you can use your imagination and say whatever you want them to be. But if you do want to display Filch in her alt mode, you just take them off the forms, reattach them onto the back, and then they form the wings of the bird mode, which I think is pretty clever engineering that they really didn't have to do. Now, taking a look at the design and details of the figure, I think it's pretty spot on accurate to the little appearance she had in the Robots in Disguise 2015 series. I do like the dark blue, purple, and turquoise paint apps, and if you do take a look at this mode, and the alt mode, there's a ton of spikes all over the figure, most likely to resemble the feathers of the bird mode, which I think is a really cool, nice attention to detail. Transformation should be the exact same thing as that Kingdom Deluxe Class Air Razor. I think the only change would be, of course, the wings have new engineering, but the majority of the transformation you should know how to do if you have any version of this Air Razor mold. Now, taking a look at her bird mode, pretty much all the most noticeable changes I've already mentioned, such as the new bird head and beak and the new wings. Everything else is quite similar to that Air Razor mold, but I do like the very metal kind of mechanical look to this bird, and even the robot mode, because when we got Air Razor and those other repaints, that was during Kingdom and a little bit of Legacy, and they were going for the more realistic beast look, but this is definitely more mechanical, robotic looking bird, which I kind of like the look of. It's very different from the past uses of this mold. But yeah, just a really solid looking figure. Now here we have the final figure, that being the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Star Raider Cannonball, which is a heavy extensive retool repaint of the previous Transformers Legacy Deluxe Class skids. Now, pointing out all the changes in mold and the new pieces between the two versions of this mold, Cannonball does have a brand new head sculpt, brand new shoulders and chest piece, and one of the arms and hands is normal, but the other one, instead of a traditional hand we used to see, it's actually a hook or a claw, which looks rather menacing and scary in my opinion. But everything else should be pretty much the exact same thing we saw with Skids, just this time done in Cannonball's color scheme, which, speaking of, I do quite like the kind of goldish bronze for the base color of the figure, with the really nice mismatched head sculpt. I do like the kind of goldish bronze on one side, and on the other side it's more of a black gunmetal gray, and the really nice maroon pink for the visor. And if you do take a look at the chest, there's actually some really nice big bright headlights done in yellow with some really nice silver for the front grille and bumper, and there is actually a Star Seeker symbol on there. I think it would have been nice if it was a little bit bigger. Also, they did the Star Seeker symbol in gray, and it's also on silver, so it does kind of blend together. Maybe they could have done the chest a different color or the symbol a different color to make it a bit more noticeable and stand out more, because as it is, it's quite small and a lot of the colors blend together. Now, as for accessories, they don't really specifically show his accessories. I'm not sure if the claw is supposed to be his weapon. We don't have that many images of this figure right now, so maybe once it's officially revealed, we'll get a better look at what he comes with. But as for transformation, it should be the exact same thing as Skids. I guess maybe there could be a few added steps and kind of conversions for that one arm with the claw arm, because of course it's bigger, it's a different shape than we typically had with the many versions of this mold so far, so there might be one or two added steps or different steps from Cannonball to Skids, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But taking a look at his all mode, I have to say it is quite crazy looking. There is just so much going on. I love the glossy black, the dark purple for the tinted windows. There's actually kind of a fire screaming skull decal on the side, which I'm assuming is on both sides of the car. They only showed one side, so I'm assuming it's on both. Actually, the back wheels are pinned in case you were interested, which is pretty cool to see on a deluxe, but the front two are mushroom peg. But keep in mind, it's a deluxe. We typically don't get all four pin wheels. If it's a deluxe, we usually have to wait for maybe a Voyager or Leader to get that. But it's a crazy deco and a crazy looking car, but I think it works. But that's all I have to say on all four of these Walmart exclusive figures. I hope you enjoyed this Thundertron podcast segment, and I will see you next time.